So North go to the left of screen. And McKernan starts in the ruck. That is interesting. Banfield gets the first touch. Lewis onto it. Onto him is King. Goes back to Worsfold. Worsfold's handball over the top to Evans. Great finals campaigner. Pretty happy, I think, to run it over because Stevens was right onto him. West Coast has won just 3 first quarters in their last 19 matches.
Pike,
can you believe that?
Bruce Pike and Fuster having a bit of a dust-up down on the full forward line for the West Coast Eagles.
McKernan belts it away. Gets the ball towards half forward. Matera in pursuit. Carey goes to ground. Comes back to Matera. Tries to get away from Scott. Can't quite do so. Quick kick around the corner by Blakey. Inside 50. Scholl also Stone with him. Crocker there. Ball forced towards the line. Out of play.
Well, Pike's now moving up the ground. He started in the back pocket on Fuster. Now he's moving up the cross half back on Ryan Turnbull. That's where North like to have him because they like to get his run from that position.
Right, sunny day in Melbourne. There's the forecast. Carey over the ball, digs it out. Allison worked off it. Worsfold charged down the hand pass, spills across to Djakovic. Very high kick, gained about 20 metres, stumped back towards the 50. Banfield so good against the Crows last week, grabs it. Matera getting early touches. Across half back, kicks it higher, floated towards the wing. Morrison running with the flat of the ball. It pitches and goes across the line.
So boundary throw in on centre wing right in front of the players' interchange area. The interchange for North Melbourne, Chandler, Brent Harvey and Danny Stevens. And of course for the West Coast, as predicted, Cousins, Lovell and Josh Wooden. Boundary throw in, and the ruck contest was clearly won by Ball. But in winning the ruck contest, he gave away the free kick to Roberts. Roberts for the Kangaroos. He will kick them to within scoring distance. Well inside the forward 50. Knocked away by Matera. Nearly gathered by Craig Scholl. Knocked to the advantage there of Morrison. He's not able to control it. Desperate stuff shown there by Worsfold. And he takes the free kick. It wasn't a free kick. It was a hand pass to Waterman. Out wide to Banfield. The race is on here. Oh, terrific effort there by Pike. He had to make that, and he did. So he's caused a bit of confusion. Banfield to Lewis. Under a bit of pressure. Lewis's kick gathered by Turnbull. Back to Lewis. His kick in turn reaches half forward. Opportunity now for Longmire. Longmire's kick lands at the feet of Allison. Allison goes back towards Bell. It rebounds to King.
Great tackle by Worsfold a moment ago. King bouncing through the centre. Kicks to half forward. Crocker the target. Within Waterman. Free kick is it? Coming down the ground against the West Coast. It might have been Schofield on King, and Crocker, who does this so very well, kicked goals. He kicked 3 in the grand final last year. I think he only had 1 kick last weekend when he kicked a goal after getting that controversial free kick in the 3rd quarter. But he is a goal kicker, and he's got the chance to put North in front. It's been a good start here. West Coast very competitive in the first few minutes. Hard at the ball. Crocker drifts away. Lazy kick off the boot. Misses a behind, or did it make it? Didn't quite, I don't think. Mark paid to Djakovic. What's happening? Rowan Saw's taking it back.
Gonna bounce it.
You'd think it would have been a marker of behind, wouldn't you?
It's one or the other, isn't it? The ball's either been marked over the line or it's been marked in front of the line.
So some confusion here. Boundary, field and goal umpires all involved. Now watch this, it's going to be a bounce out of Djakovic. Well, Djakovic has clearly marked the football. Now he's giving it to him, Rowan. Well,
he did juggle it, hence the indecision, I think. But the right decision. Here's Djakovic. Deep in his own defensive area. High kick. Close to the boundary line. Gardner is up. Roberts, great balance. Hit the ground running. To Scholl. Back it comes to Bell. Bell 45 metres out. Missed narrowly. No mark that time. Opening score of the game. Waterman to bring it in. Wide. Morrison's the target on the 50. Thought about going. Doesn't. Chad Morrison. Emerging talent, kicks it up towards the wing, and Turnbull. Turnbull's got it. Evans running on down the ground, demanding the ball. Now he chops short that lead. Well, not much on. Lewis will need to fly here. Almost. Fell in front. Evans, half chance. King, was he pushed in the back? Nothing doing, and goes Banfield and a whistle.
So important, the effective tackling by both sides. Now a free kick has been picked out of that little bit of well, to do. It was between Lewis and David King. And David King is the recipient of a free kick. He's between left half-back and left centre wing. His kick is a beauty. Right onto the chest of Anderson. Martin, get rid of it. He's run down by McIntosh. Terrific tackle from behind. Matera. He'll outrun Mickey Martin. No doubt about that. 10's on as Peter Matera. Runs away after 2 bounces. Steadies on the right. Kicks towards full forward to his brother Phillip. Not able to grasp the mark. Kemp. Snapshot. Great kick by Dean Kemp's the first goal of the game. Magnificent snapshot from the left forward pocket by Dean Kemp. And the West Coast Eagles have got the first goal.
And that really was caused by a midfield turnover then. The wrong handball option taken. Mickey Martin not knowing that the heat was right on him. Good tackle from behind by McIntosh. Matera getting the ball as we see there, then kicking it back inside their 50. The first time the West Coast Eagles have gone inside 50, and it was a fairly open 50.
Banfield with the football for the Eagles, runs on and kicks with his favoured left foot, but gives it up because he kicked it straight to Corey McKernan. McKernan can go right across the far side of the ground. If this kick is perfect, it is. It finds Martin. And diligently marked there by Chris Lewis to force Martin to go back and kick over the man on the mark. 200-game player today, Mickey Martin. Great performance. Big crowd here at the MCG to watch this knockout semi-final between the Eagles and the Kangaroos. Bell tries to take it with him, drags it back in underneath, a bit risky. Simmons, handball out into the path of Morrison. Just a critical fumble. Still Morrison in front. Simpson, the Kangaroo player, doing the tackling and harassing. Simmons comes in to try and help out. Tied up there is Anderson, and the umpire will bounce. Much to the appreciation of the North Melbourne fans, I'm sure, as the Eagles look certainly to clear the half-back area. But just a little bit of a fumble there by young Morrison. Jakovic knocks it effectively. But North Melbourne get back through Anderson, back to Anthony Stevens. His kick high, approaches 50 metres. At the back, good mark taken by Ball. Clean mark, all clear given by the umpire.
Hasn't played a lot of footy as well, Ball, this year. Good strong grab, kicks to centre wing. McKernan works Turnbull under it. Stevens hard at it. Wonderful player he is. Traps it in, tries to get it out. West Coast onto him quickly. Kemp, one of them. Kemp's been good early.
Bruce Allison doing some work on Johnny Worsfold too. He's making sure that he drags him right up the ground so that it can run him and perhaps expose him for pace on the way back when North go forward.
Turnbull was good there a moment ago. So McKernan works Turnbull and then belts it. This is a good move. King's onto it. Banfield's going to have to run very hard. King on the left, inside, good, gives it to Bell.
Bell, 60, 50, heads for home. Morrison going back. Did he touch it? I doubt he did. I think it's a goal.
That was a set play then by North Melbourne. King had already made his move before the knock was made by Corey McKernan right out on the wing. He'd moved in that direction. The ball was knocked in his path. He picked it up, and Bell, the support runner, and he's been a terrific player for them this year, Peter Bell.
Well, the goal kicker for North Melbourne is Peter Bell. Dean Kemp has kicked the Eagles' goal. The bounce at the centre. Kemp missed it altogether. Gathered by Simmons. His kick was smothered off the boot. Kick forward in the finish by Bell to centre half forward. Good work by Jakovic on Carey. Gathered by Pike. Martin Pike slips it onto his right boot. Kicks it towards full forward. Top effort by Morrison. Not paid the mark. Right in the goal square basically for North Melbourne. Craig Scholl provides a contest. The handball not really all that effective. Stone for a clearance. Simmons not able to gather, and surely the umpire will bounce. He doesn't. Lets the Eagles go on with it, and eventually it is kicked away by Ball across the half-back line. It bounces awkwardly, close to the line, eventually over in front of Michael Gardner for a boundary throw-in. About 80 metres around from the North Melbourne goal. They lead by a point. Gardner, just a youngster in terms of AFL games played. Taken away there by Evans. Throws it onto his right boot, kicks it high towards half forward. There's a free kick. Dennis, you saw that?
Yes. Player
Clear.
coming back on Turnbull, no question.
Clearly a free kick to Ryan Turnbull, doing well for West Coast across the half-forward line. The ball spills, he's a certainty. In you go, Philip Matera. One bounce, makes it a certainty, and kicks it into the Western stand. Goal to Philip Matera, the second goal on the scoreboard to the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 5 points.
Well, that was terrific play then by Matera, just to work his way down to get to that pack. It was all up for North Melbourne. Nobody was down. And this very smart goal kicker for the West Coast Eagles kicked 27 goals coming into this game. Just watch this kick again by Ryan Turnbull. Everybody was up. Nobody was down except Matera, and a very, very simple goal.
Longmire holds the record for goals against the Eagles for North Melbourne. 8 as he kicks towards the outer side. Carey hasn't seen much of the ball so far. Scott on the burst, nicely done, emerges with it, runs to the wing, kicks to half forward. The target is Scholl, pitches short of him, fickle bounce for Scholl. Stone's got it. Matera, he's been busy. Matera, that's Peter to Jakovic, enjoying this. 6th possession, got it to Stone, too high surely. Throw it in, says the umpire. Well, Scholl did well if that's the case. It seemed that left arm could have slipped high. Watch it again. Jakovic in trouble. Scholl from one to the other. Well, you'd call it.
Well, it was a bit dicey, but the umpire closer than we are, and obviously the decision stands. Bell, left foot kick by Bell. Carey's into it now. Oh, over exuberance there by Carey. Could have easily taken that and spilt the mark. Simmons handball. Morrison has it. They're a chance to clear the half-back line. Simmons received from Morrison and then gave to Peter Matera. He's had 5 kicks already, Peter Matera, and that one finds Ryan Turnbull. Good kick again in the path of Morrison, not able to gather. Good interception by King. King off the left foot, kicks down, and just misjudging a little was Robert Scott. Made an easy mark to Peter Matera. They've started well, the Eagles, Adrian Barrage.
They certainly have, Robbo. And tell you what, Malthouse's ambitious coaching continues. They've got Michael Gardner and Jason Ball both playing on the ball. 2 Giants on the ball.
Good effort there by Evans. Thanks for that, Adrian. Inside with a bit of luck there, North. Rock's handball was good to Stevens. Stevens away to Bell. Bell at halfback. Roscoe, just Carey's effort a moment ago. Just a nervous start, do you feel, by the champion?
Yeah, he's very keen to get his first touch. Obviously, Bruce, with a mark like that, just over-exuberant.
Matera coming in from the side. So Jakovic doing well earlier. Matera doing very, very well as he boots the ball back to half-forward. McKernan used his body from Turnbull. Still a loose ball to be won. Pike works to the line. Out of play.
Bruce, Scott's picking up Matera. He has to make sure that Matera can't be the 3rd man up in a contest like that, because Jakovic had Carey's measure and Matera just floated in. Scott has just got to make sure that he gets between the ball and also Matera.
Boundary throw in. Turnbull and McKernan went behind. McKernan hurriedly up towards the wing. Worsfold heading towards the boundary line. Does he keep it in? Well, he did. He was pushed in the back. Relayed free to be taken by Lewis. What a start by Peter Matera. 8 possessions so far. His season's high 31 in round 1 against Sydney. Bearing in mind he had 14 in the opening term of that game. His best quarter of the year. McIntosh drops the mark. Too hot. Live grenade there. Came to Simmons. He couldn't hang on. It's out of bounds. No sign of John Worsfold. No carries off. And I would imagine that's just to quieten him down. Jakovic has been the master so far in that situation.
Dennis Pagan there just speaking to the North Melbourne captain. That's a free kick to Tony Evans. Very high and right in front of the umpire. Now play on is called. Evans kick, discipline to the front of the square. It is going to go to North's advantage. McIntosh kicked the goal. The players had stopped because the umpire had picked a free kick out of the marking contest, and it'll go to North Melbourne to be taken back there by Freeborn. Freeborn, a goal kicker for North Melbourne in their grand final victory last year. Playing on the last line of defence now for the Kangaroos. He kicks it outside the defensive 50. The ball punched away. Gathered there by Allison. He's tackled, and the umpire... It's amazing. Sometimes the umpires allow the play to go on, and then quickly Rowan Saws blows the whistle and will bounce.
And Robbo, once again, Jakovic leading Carey to the ball. He really has to gain control of that contest.
Ball up. Kicked high by Anderson. Not really all that forward. Now it's in a winnable position. King robbed of the football there by Schofield. The look-away hand pass, it was a bit of a dummy. And the mark taken down there by Fuster from behind Longmire, and he's only 11 metres from goal. Dipper.
Pager's made the move now. Carey's now gone to centre-half back, and Corey McKernan has now gone to centre-half forward. So I suppose Pager just wants his young champion just to get a few nerves out of the way.
Well, nerves, they will have to disappear quickly because the Eagles have got another goal. Fuster, who was not in the original 24 and is now in the team at the expense of Ilya Grigic, who we believe pulled out because of a back problem, has kicked the Eagles' third goal.
And West Coast Eagles once again doing very well at ground level, getting that ball forward. Fuster just a slight nudge to Longmire, but terrific bit of body work. And the West Coast Eagles will be extremely happy how they've started this game.
1-1 to 3 goals. Lee Matthews watching from a slightly different position to us. Lee, this is a good start for West Coast.
Jason Ball actually started half-back, expecting to pick up Corey McKernan, but with McKernan rucking, then going to centre-half-back, Ball ended up on Blakey, which was a strange matchup. Got all the big blokes on at the moment, the Eagles, but it's working for them.
Thanks for that, Lee. So, Eagles doing well here. 18-7 in the opening term. There's Simpson, premiership player from last year. It's been a bit bitsy this year. Michael Malthouse, what a record he has. So's Dennis Pagan, by the way. 8 out of 8 for Malthouse in terms of finals. West Coast. Stevens kick a beauty to Allison, a danger man. Can really hurt you, Allison. He kicked 7 against Geelong last year in the elimination final, and he was the bit player to Carey last Sunday night. He got 3, Carey got 7, and Crocker got the only other goal for North. Blakey from the ground. He's been so consistent, Blakey. He's just missed 2 matches in 4 seasons.
Well, he had been lined up on Jason Ball. We see Jason Ball actually coming off the ground now too.
So North responding. Lee telling us about that move a moment ago. Allison normally a fantastic kick for goal on the run. That kick going right away with a hook. Good grab though by Crocker. He did this in the grand final. He plays tall, doesn't he, in the forward pocket. And that, I think, took a few by surprise with this late swerve. It looked a goal off the boot, and then suddenly it wasn't going to score. And Crocker's taken a very important mark here. Big mark. Matera trying to come in and stone. And Crocker had a shot for goal from about 50 earlier on and didn't make it, but you'd back him from here, tucked away in the pocket, 10 metres out. Normally a very clever kick. He's kicked the goal. This is a good game of footy. It's 2-1 to 3 goals.
It is only early, but one sense that North Melbourne did need to give themselves a goal on the board quickly just to steady the ship a little bit. As I mentioned just a moment ago, there was a move made by North Melbourne just to try and get a mismatch against Ball. Blakey came off the ground, Brent Harvey went onto the ground, and then Josh Wooden came on to replace Jason Ball. So those 2 players are now matched against each other in the forward line.
Eagles on top by 5 points. Bad defence, and Crocker making them pay. Gardner clean possession. Run into McKernan. Banfield couldn't control it. Evans hurriedly floats it inside the centre square down towards half forward. Carey, the defender now, paddling it along in front, confronted, met solidly. Down he went. It spills to Longmire. Longmire throws it on the boot and finds the boundary line out his side. 18-13. Carey swung to defence. Jakovic making a great start. 2 players in form.
I think also
in the first week of finals.
Also to control Turnbull, who's been pretty good across half forward for the West Coast.
And Gardner in front, almost clean possession. Wooden. Stevens did brilliantly on his knees, tries to dig it out. Here's Harvey, hard against the line. There was a push in the back. McKernan's got the ball. Advantage is paid. McKernan chips towards centre half forward on the lead. Crocker directly in front. He'll kick from right on the 50.
Gee, that was a good kick by a guy who's so tall in a circumstance where he was asked to play on fairly quickly. He had run around on the left foot, and then to put it on the chest of the leading forward from about 45 metres. Very skillful.
Anthony Stevens so good at finding that ball on the ground to get it out. Crocker at his second goal. It'll fall in short for the second time. Almost they paid the price. Simpson goes off the ground. I think it's behind. It didn't miss by much. But that time, McKernan getting in front of the defence. Those defenders backing off. So often the way when you're going to spoil, you think you've got a little more latitude.
Chris Waterman to kick in for the West Coast. Goes in short and finds that #1 popular man here at the MCG, Johnny Worsfold, the captain of the West Coast Eagles. He's in the left back pocket. He goes short again. And very close to the boundary line, Dean Kemp has taken the mark. He's been one of the Eagles' goal kickers so far in this game. He kicks it close to the line as well. Roberts beaten for it. Well done by Gardner. Just got to the right side. The ball looking as though it's just floating away towards the boundary line on that side of the ground. And Michael Gardner did pretty well. He's got a slightly awkward kicking style from behind Turnbull. Agility plus. Grabbed around the neck, and it's going to be a free kick, is it? Won't be down the line, surely. They've got to go back.
Ryan Turnbull's been very good so far in the first quarter too, Robbo. He's been leading up the ground and presenting himself time and time again.
So he did get the free kick for this indiscretion by Anthony Stevens, and his free kick lands at half forward, gathered by Philip Matera just into the path. He saw the Eagles players swooping. It was Lewis and Kemp, and they combined. The hand pass from Dean Kemp to Chris Lewis, and it's another goal for the Eagles. They've got their 4th on the scoreboard.
Oh, gee, that was an intelligent play then by Kemp, though, wasn't he? Just held the ball. He bought some time. He was going to have to kick a fairly rushed snapshot on his left boot from the boundary line. He just realised that it wasn't a kick to take. Just watch this. This fellow is just a real craftsman. Gave it off to Lewis, who was on his preferred side, his right foot swinging in, and he did the rest.
2-2 to 4 goals. Great play, Kemp. Good play, Philip Matera earlier, and a superb finish by Chris Lewis. West Coast giving as good as they're getting at the moment. They're going very well, and back in the centre. Ross, you had a good view a moment ago of the Lewis kick. They're not easy, but that's a great shot from the boundary line.
Yeah, as Tim said, just great play and awareness by Kemp to know where Lewis was, and the players running forward were too quick for the North backman to pick them up. Stevens
had his kick cut off. Anthony Rock's not getting a whole lot of the footy early. That's an important one. Evans' little one back to Pike. Lewis onto him. Pike dropped it. He's pretty lucky, I reckon, there. The kick by Harvey, a floater to Scholl. Scholl gets rid of his man. Jakovic takes one of the best marks you'll ever see. They're not easy. That was a beauty. The kick to Simmons stretches him, but he's got it. He can go on here, Simmons. He had Wooden. Now he gets to Wooden inside to Kemp.
Kemp from half forward, probing kick towards Fuster. The unlikely hero.
Geez, a good judge, Mickey Moldhouse, isn't he?
Yeah, Fuster comes out hobbling. Well, what a punt. What a story.
Got a left knee very heavily bandaged. Has he got a history of knees, Dennis? Bad knees?
Yes, that's been his problem.
Landed awkwardly on that.
Terrific young player. Very gifted, but has struggled with injury. Will kick from about 35 metres out. Sharp angle. Going at his second. Tight. I think he's missed. Interesting the way the West Coast Eagles are carrying the ball forward. A subtle change in their philosophy, it seems, today. Not squaring the ball, but sweeping at goalward. Fuster coming off. And that change is throwing North a little bit. These sides know each other so well. They expect certain things from the opposition. Here's Longmire.
Well, very quickly, Fuster off the ground. He's kicked 1-1 and limping rather dramatically. Ball to replace Fuster. We see Fuster there going to the bench as Jakovic controls the football once again to Dean Kemp. 2 bounces, assesses, then has to have a 3rd bounce and goes in short, and well done. Had no one to kick to, so the longer he held it, the better chance they had of creating the loose man, which was Philip Matera. His kick to the goal square. Ball couldn't take it, but Banfield kicks their 5th goal. That's all Eagles. Another one to the West Coast Eagles, and they lead 5-1 to 2-2.
Well, there's some really worrying signs here at the moment as we go down to the bench there and look at Fuster. Also, Adrian Barrett is down there. Adrian, what's the latest?
Tim, everything going right for the West Coast Eagles except for Brendan Fuster's left knee. That is the knee that he had reconstructed earlier this year. Came back from that major injury to play just only 2 games and now has hurt it again. They're going to do an assessment and see how serious it is, but I'd say he'd be doubtful to come back on now.
Gee, that is a body blow because he's added something, hasn't he? But the 3 champions, Matera, Kemp and Djakovic, have been magnificent in this first quarter for the West Coast Eagles. Simmons to Schofield. They could pinch a break here on North. Schofield too high for ball. Longmire's had a pretty nervous start himself at his end, having been out positioned a couple of times by Fuster, and a boundary throw in.
North Melbourne are really going to have to tighten up. One sense is that they need to kick themselves a goal before quarter time because they really do need to regroup. Mick Malthouse there, he'd be pretty happy with the moves he made prior to this game. They all seem to have worked thus far. 2-2-5-1
free kick going to Pike. So that's disappointing that Ball would give a free kick to Pike from a boundary throw in. No, it's going to Longmire, so that's still disappointing, but not quite so bad. He's a little taller at least. So Longmire from the back pocket. Late in this opening term, a terrific quarter for the Eagles. Kicks to half-back. Stone was there. Gardner, good take by McKernan, who started pretty well. Well, they might have been slow in the first quarter over the last 20 or so weeks, but they weren't today, West Coast. I think they surprised all of us, maybe not to the hundreds of thousands that are watching through TVW around Western Australia, but this is a great start to the Eagles. 5-1-31 to 2-2-14. Lewis kicked a spectacular goal. Banfield, Kemp, Matera and Fuster, the other goal scorers, and Bell and Crocker have got them for North Melbourne. But the scene has been set now. The favourites trail at quarter time. It's an even money game. It's 2-2 to 5-1. Great start for West Coast here. 5 separate goal kickers. They're 5-1 to North Melbourne 2-2. So West Coast by 17 points at quarter time. Lee Matthews, as we look at Dennis Pagan, who had his whiteboard a moment ago. Lee, go through the lineups for the opening term.
Yes, thanks, Bruce. Well, of course, North Melbourne were keeping to left of screen. They had a 2-man full forward line. Crocker, Simpson on Morrison here. Stone was on Scholl, playing a bit further out. Carey, of course, was on Djakovic. Interesting here, I'm sure Ball, big Jason Ball, was selected to play on McKernan, but he wasn't there. Blakey picked him up. Eventually, that pairing went. Wooden replaced Ball, and then Harvey came on. We look to the midfield here, those matchups. McKernan started in the centre bounce ruck work, but then went to centre half back on Turnbull when the game settled. Roberts was mainly running around in the ruck in this situation. Deeper in, we had McIntosh at full forward on Martin. That was the basic structure, Bruce.
Thanks, Lee. As we're about to start the second term here, and Carey has started at full forward. Banfield's quick kick. Scholl's lined up at centre half forward for North Melbourne, so another change. Philip Matera's been good. Turnbull gets across. Clever kick, Matera to the front of the square. McIntosh couldn't quite get there. Wonderfully played, Evans. Wins it to McIntosh. A hot footy, though, to be won here. Pike comes away. Quick kick out in the direction of McKernan and Matera. This will be interesting. McKernan and Matera, two of the greats. Matera works it beautifully. Well played, though, by Scott. Matera comes back in. Scott tries to go through his legs. What an effort. Kick off the ground by Stevens. With him, Kemp. Good players everywhere as we look around this ground. Boundary throw in. I did enjoy all of that.
What was Scott thinking? Crawling towards goal. Watch it again. Heavy duty stuff in there. Boundary throw in. Kemp. Brilliantly done. Dean Kemp somehow got away. Kicks to half forward. Turnbull. Good timely fist from behind. Roberts gets it across the boundary line. Adrian Barrett on the boundary.
Dennis, just from the West Coast huddle, obviously Djakovic just so pumped about fixing up Carey. Evans had rock removed from the ground. Matera's on top of Scott, and Kemp is beating Stevens. So West Coast just going beautifully at the moment. And Dipper, you were amazed that they moved Carey early, weren't you? Because you thought that might affect Carey mentally.
I certainly was, Adrian, and also as a player in the huddles, all the experienced players were behind, in front, behind the pack of Dennis Pagan. So not been used for North Melbourne.
Well, still the Eagles sharing it around very, very efficiently. Peter Matera just breaks the tackle of Robert Scott and then thumps a torpedo punt kick towards the offensive 50-metre line, gathered by his brother Philip Matera, shrugs the tackle, runs inside 50, then kicks to half forward, but a good mark is taken there by Anderson for North Melbourne. Away to Roberts, short kick, it's going to get chopped off. Worsfold couldn't quite take the mark, attempted clearance there by Simmons, still the football underneath, and he takes a bit of a risk by trying to drag it back in under. At the umpire will bounce about 40 metres from the West Coast Eagles goal.
I wonder whether Chandler would be a better option for Philip Matera too.
He's sitting on the bench.
Pensive mood, those three North Melbourne players.
Young Harvey in the middle of the picture, and Danny Stevens, the other bench warmer at this stage. Kicked away by Pike, but only as far as Schofield. Again, he just bamboozles the opposition and then kicks with the right foot towards full forward. Blakey, attempted gather there. Oh, great play by Fuster. What a remarkable recovery he's made from what we thought he wouldn't come back on the ground. Snapshot just missing. 1-2 against the name of Brendan Fuster, and they lead the Eagles by 3 goals.
That would have been a lifter.
It's been handy, hasn't he? And surprising at that. We didn't expect to see him back. That ball missed its target by King. Turnbull's got it over the top to Lewis. He's clever enough from here. Inside, though. Good option. Good kick. Fuster again. There's Mickey Martin in the box, who's hurt himself by the look of it. He had a bit of a problem during the week, but not that one in the arm, shoulder area. So tough Mickey in a bit of pain there at the moment. And Fuster about to kick for goal. He kicked one in the first quarter. He took a great mark where he hurt his knee over the top of Longmire. And a moment ago, he was very clever and dexterous and almost kicking a goal from a snapshot. This to give him a sensational start. His 4th shot at goal early in the second quarter. 45 metres out, high ball, close, looks good, it's a goal. Well done. Well, I think we were all staggered when we saw his name on the sheet and when we saw him on the ground. But right now, Tim, it's been an inspired move.
Yes, and North need to regain their composure. Just watch this, the North Melbourne player here, Stevens, just over-committing himself then and allowing Lewis just to do pretty much as he pleased to set that ball up, squaring up then to Fuster, who really has been a revelation down there in the forward line for the West Coast Eagles.
How about this? Brendan Fuster, 2 goals, and the margin out to 24 points. Gardner decisively won it down. Bell, who's been good, upended that time. Stevens controlled it pretty well. Kicks inside the attacking 50. Jakovic, a blemish that time. Chance for Carey. Jakovic got back. His pride was dented. Dragged him down. Loose ball. Rock gets it across to support Freeborn. Little chip pass was very good. Great execution. Anderson has it about 40 metres out. There's Mickey. Game number 200. He's feeling sore and sorry.
Good quick hands there by Anthony Rock, and Freeborn, the left footer, turning back inside, and that's where Anderson had run into the space that had been left.
The Kangaroos needing a goal here. Stuart Anderson, normally a good finisher. Goal umpire goes to his left. Behind. Margin of 23 points. More attention for Mick. Just getting the arm over. Fuster full-bloodedly, and that hurt. So Fuster throwing his weight around in more ways than one as Stone comes to Jakovic. Jakovic is inspired, brooding all week. He's come to play this afternoon.
My word, and he's doing it pretty nicely too. At the back, Martin Pike has the football. He'll kick it back to within scoring distance. Chipping in. Good reading of the play there by Tony Evans. Takes the mark. Gives the hand pass away. Wider still. Nearly run down there was Wooden. Got his foot to the ball before Freeborn could intercept. And the ball trundles over for a throw-in.
And one of the things that Dennis Pagan is going to have to consider soon is whether or not to put Wayne Carey behind the ball to leave him again in the forward line, because Glenn Jakovic is the dominating player down there, and perhaps to put someone else at centre-half forward who'll just drag Glenn Jakovic out of the play.
Fair enough. Anderson tries to get the hand pass to Bell. In turn to Rock. Anthony Rock's first kick in the game, coming deep in the second term. Good punch from behind by Jakovic. Worsfold runs the ball away, shares it with Banfield. Banfield, an awkward left foot kick towards full forward. Jumping high was Fuster, couldn't take the mark. Recovery pretty good. Attempted hack out of there by Blakey. Philip Matera snapshot, bounces the wrong way and goes through for a behind. 1 goal, 1 to Philip Matera.
An attacking punch then from Glenn Jakovich at centre-half back. The Eagles had the numbers at the fall of the ball. Just watch that. Once again, the one-on-one contest. Getting the ball away from Wayne Carey down to his own men. And then the West Coast Eagles attacking right down the centre of the ground.
It's exciting stuff, isn't it? Gardner works to the front, gets the free kick. I'm reminded of the grand final last year about this moment. It's about where Sydney had North Melbourne.
Yep.
Let's see what happens in the second half of this quarter. Lewis's kick. McIntosh, wonderful mark. Free kick given against Philip Matera. Well, the umpire's in a good position. He's probably seen something. It just takes something away when somebody takes such a great mark like that. Blakey's kick, Scott should have taken it. Matera clever. Banfield, Lewis at 50. Lewis's left foot not bad to the goal square. Fuster's back there, ordinarily a one-hander. Cheese playing some good footy. Bell in trouble. Is he led? Free kick. So, Dennis, let's see if North can make a move on the Eagles like they made on the Swans last year.
And a report.
So the report is in.
Yep, a report coming out of that trip.
And that should be a 50-metre penalty too.
Yes, that's obligatory. The umpire's call initially. And now the 50 is meted out. Hayden Kennedy.
Should point out, Dennis, that under the rules of the AFL, we're now no longer allowed to show that incident.
Right.
You just wonder whether or not, Dennis, too, that when a player gets reported, what the mental effect it does have on a player. Often we see players after they've been reported, they go very quiet for a period of time when they start to consider the ramifications down the track.
Saw that with Fraser Gehrig last week. Bell away to Roberts, unloads from half back towards half forward. Stone gets up, touched the ball, it runs on though. Opportunity for Carey, went to ground, diving in there Jakovich. He's been terrific, Freeborn. Simmons is in there against the flow. Stevens, looping hand pass comes to Anderson. Anderson from 60 metres, heads for home. Nobody is back. Yes, there is. Jakovich in the nick of time. What a game he's playing. He's been challenged this week. But bear in mind, Carey is capable of fighting back. Here's Wooden.
There's just a youngster, Josh Wooden, in this Eagles lineup. He's got the football at left half back. He kicks down towards the wing, judging it a little better than Ryan Turnbull with Roberts, and takes the mark. He kicks in short, finds Bell. He could give the hand pass away. Prefers to go with the left foot, cross the half-forward line, push out by Gardner. Fairly blatant. And McKernan would nearly kick a goal from here. He's a thumping kick.
And West Coast Eagles have swung another change. They've taken Lewis off the ground. They've brought on Ben Cousins. And they're now trying to get a mismatch with Ben Cousins matched up against Martin Pike.
Gee, it was a terrible passage there, wasn't it, by Michael Gardner, that play. McKernan shot for goal. Lovely long kick. He is a magnificent player. Corey McKernan kicks a badly needed goal for the Kangaroos. They trail by 18 points.
Well, you'll take them no matter how you get them, and on this occasion it was via a free kick. North Melbourne squaring up the ball, just finding a bit of space, and that's one thing that the midfielders have really struggled to do as we see that push out again. Definitely a free kick against Gardner, but in the first quarter the West Coast Eagles really did dominate in the midfield part of the ground, and Banfield, Simmons, Evans and Lewis and Kemp, all players getting plenty of the ball.
A big punch by McKernan as Rock comes off the ground and he's replaced by Harvey. Some urgency now just in these last few minutes, even if there wasn't some already. Crocker gets it to Carey, back to Harvey. Harvey, well done, found Scholl right in front. Still has to kick the goal, but it was a good passage of play by the Kangaroos. And if Craig Scholl can convert, it is 12 points, the margin in favour of the Eagles.
They're a frantic team, North Melbourne, aren't they? When they get a run on, they make the opposition make mistakes. They up the tempo of the whole game. They've done it right now.
See, that was an unusual situation with Kemp, though. Johnny Longmire actually ran past him just to stay on his man. I always believe you've got to run and make them make a decision.
Scholl kicks for goal, and he has converted successfully. First goal to one of North Melbourne's key players in this match. West Coast lead by 2 goals.
And Scholl becomes an extremely important forward today for North Melbourne, with Wayne Carey being held thus far brilliantly by Glenn Jakovich. We see again Jakovich winning the contest here on the ground, but Wayne Carey gets a quick handball. Good play here by Harvey just to square the ball up to Scholl. But Scholl's going to have to kick a bag of goals today.
That's Scholl's first goal in 4 matches. He was goalless in his last 3 coming in. So an important play, an important kick. Cousins got it from Garner. It was a beautiful tap. Kemp squeezes 1 to 50. Belted away cleverly by Pike. Burl, well done. It was hot, and he was good enough. And he got it to Pike, who belted it away. North right back in business. Terrific mark, Carey. That's what they wanted. The King gets a touch. It's taken him a long time. It's a good kick over the top. McKern has got it. They're back. There's a goal the difference.
I don't think they'd ever left, Bruce.
It's the grand final revisited. That surge in the second quarter. 5 to 6 it is.
And once again showing the importance of a player that can actually put 5 metres difference on a kick. Watch this kick of Carey's. It went over the immediate pack. He spotted McKernan running into the space. That's where he was intending the kick to go, and McKernan running onto the kick. And that shows the power of a ruckman who can also run and bound and leap and jump like McKernan.
North Melbourne 3 goals in the space of 4 minutes. Gardner is up. Cousins at the base of the pack. It comes to Simmons. Simmons down towards half forward. Dumped away by Roberts. Waiting in front, Pike. Jarred free. Pike at the second opportunity comes out wide towards the wing. Awkward bounce for Scott. Then in turn Matera. Matera under pressure. Harris by Harvey. Wins the ball. Kicks it back towards half forward. McIntosh in from the side. Missed by Roberts. Half chance for Philip Matera. Down goes McIntosh. Tries to dig it out. Roberts for North. Spills back to Schofield. Schofield to Simmons, who's been so good. Feeds it to Cousins. Cousins on the 50. Heads for home. It hangs in the air. It's good. Steadying goal.
Gee, I think Dennis Pagan will be on the phone now to the runner to get out to Mark Roberts. He had the opportunity here to win a ball, didn't take it, didn't want it. He really had to make that ball his own, because the West Coast Eagles just swarmed after that, and Cousins kicking a goal from just on the 50-metre line. So that move of getting him onto the ground and Lewis off has already worked for Mickey Maltus and his Brains Trust.
Gee, what a game this is. Ross Glendinning 5 to 7. Your thoughts from where you're sitting right now?
Well, I was going to say, Bruce, that first quarter of the ball definitely to right of screen is carrying extra 3 or 4 metres. So long kicks that way, they'll go for sure.
I tell you what, the bounce favoured Cousins, and he got it down to his fellow teammate in Turnbull, and in goes Philip Matera, and he's got another goal for the Eagles. It all happened so quickly. Philip Matera has now kicked 2 goals along with Fuster, and they lead 8 goals 3 to 5-3.
Well, things are clicking for the West Coast Eagles. Wide of the pack, a chance for Simmons. Freeborn did best, though. Gets it away to support, hurriedly by Anderson. Allison hard against the line, kicks towards half forward. In from the side, McKernan. Jakovich brought it to ground. Bell inspired, puts it into space. Scholl runs onto the ball, but we've got a whistle. It's coming back. Eagles free kick to Jakovich. Jakovich coming up for his 10th possession. The signs were there last week at Football Park against the Adelaide Crows. And he's built on that. Jakovich towards the wing. Strong grab by McIntosh. He's missed some footy. You wouldn't think so to look at him. He's on the wing.
Wayne Carey's now on the ball, matching up against Gardner.
McIntosh, a probing kick inside the 50. Good use of the body by Longmire. The beneficiary behind was Blakey. Wide-eyed, he comes away. Carey sold into trouble. Matera almost picked his pocket. Matera goes on after the ball. Blakey keen to make amends. Grabs the footy, kicks it down towards half-forward. Scholl being held by the arm, no free. Stone comes away.
Kept his cool. Scholl might have been unlucky. Gardner, good effort. Evans to try and help. Well played, Gardner. He is a star, and so's this fellow. Matera, so exciting. Kicks to the pocket to his brother. Got him, no. Should have marked it, and then should not have fallen over. Pike's kick inboard. Okay, well played. Stone to belt it away from Scholl. Kemp That's all right. Stone, besieged. Banfield was flattened by Carey, who did it beautifully. To Stevens, some strength by Carey. At the back, this is Danny Stevens running onto it. Morrison, this will be interesting. Morrison just kept his cool. Stevens fell over. Boundary throw in left forward pocket. Good stuff by Carey in the centre.
That might be the touch that he actually needed just to get himself going, because it was a brave attack at the ball. Split the small pack.
Gee, sold him, mate. What about when Matera nearly took it off him a moment ago?
Tossed in. McKernan. Upended by Jakovic. Throws it on the boot. Wayward looking kick. Simmons has to go back. Anderson there too for North. Stevens missed it. Freeborn to Blakey. Hurriedly onto the boot. Banfield slides in. Wants to go and does. Cousins. Encouraging signs from him as well. Kicks through midfield. It runs on towards centre half forward. Here's the live wire. Worked out of it that time. He comes again. Lays a tackle front onto Roberts. It spills to Chandler. Chandler whips it away to Carey. Carey towards half forward. Precise. McKernan. He's forward at the wing. Corey McKernan. Up ahead there, Stevens. McKernan heads in that direction. Crocker behind, in from the side. Waterman. Bell dragged down. Timely tackle. And again down goes Crocker that time. Wow, a couple of tackles just in the nick of time. Ball up. 10 metres out directly in front.
And fair tackles too. I think when the pressure's on there, only a matter of metres from the goal, it's quite easy to give away an unfair tackle. A clean shot at goal, but it was terrific defensive work by the Eagles. McKernan tries to get it down. Scott, left foot snap by Robert Scott's a goal to North. No, what's happened there? Was it touched, was it?
Touch off the boot.
Well, it certainly went through the big sticks, but obviously just a behind to the Kangaroos. So it is 17 points in favour of the Eagles. The kick in, being marked by Morrison. Morrison's kick is long to Simmons. They've got the numbers here. Have a look at Kemp. He's got plenty of metres in front of himself. Gets around and tackled. Handball to Lewis, quickly under pressure. Gee, how quickly it turns around. Carey. Longmire tried to get it to King. King has been quiet. Turnbull out wider. Philip Matera overruns it. Now, as soon as you mention that he's a little quiet, he runs away with the footy, David King. Kicks it high, lands close to the wing. Punched away by Worsfold, gathered by Simmons. Simmons doing well, getting plenty of touches, and he finds Lewis.
12 touches, Simmons, 3 kicks, 9 handballs. Lewis, who came off the ground for a short time. Cousins came on and has been very effective. Lewis's high ball to half forward. Gardner, big fly. Carey at the back. There's a free kick. It's going to West Coast against North Melbourne. In the back over the shoulder. And Gardner's going to have a shot. Now, Roscoe, we see Carey here. And coming from the side may have been Anderson. Ross, you've seen more of Gardner than we have. Would you fancy him from here? He's about 45 metres out on about a 60-degree angle.
Well, he can be a slightly untidy kick, Bruce, and the breeze is tricky from that pocket. He's got to kick from right to left, so it'll be a difficult kick for a player like him.
So Lewis coming off. So Roscoe he's got to kick it right to left. So where should he aim, do you reckon?
He's got to aim for that right goal post.
Okay, so let's see if he can bring it in. As we see Lewis coming off. Big kick here for Gardner. This to really stretch it again. Out to about 4 goals. That's going to sting North Melbourne. It's drifting, as you said, Ross, right to left. Gardner missing, but the margin is 18 points. Lewis off the ground. Lovell is on the ground. Now, we might get a replay here with Chris Lewis, who's been handy enough. Just coming across there, Stevens, and he fell awkwardly. So, Lewis off the ground for the moment.
Take the right arm on that occasion, nursing an injured left arm. Blakey does well, heads for the boundary line, finds it. Custer chasing back hard. Boundary throw in right on the wing. There's Lewis. Right hand, perhaps.
Cousins been a good player since coming on too. He's had 5 possessions and he's kicked a goal this quarter.
Working well with Gardner. That's been a key. This will be interesting. McKernan, as you'd expect. Advantage paid. Blakey comes away. Kicks inside the 50. Morrison almost built the mark, or will it be part of its ball?
Gotta be kidding.
Wow, that is line ball. Morrison appeared to control it, then hit the deck and it came out. That's a big call. Crocker had the ball. It was headed goalward. It'll look more like a mark in slow motion. Well, that's... I would have paid it in slow motion. There goes the kick back towards the wing. Bounces high awkwardly for the first two to arrive, but not so Stevens, who pulls it back to the middle. Here's Scott. Scott's away, 60 metres from goal. Sets it up. They contest about 25 out. Brilliantly read by Morrison. The opportunist sliding across behind that pack. Grabbing it. Kicks towards the wing. Schofield outnumbered. Bounce comes his way. Loops the hand pass into the path of Banfield. Banfield will go with his right. No option there. Kicks it down towards half forward. Turnbull worked out of it. Philip Matera again. Quicksilver. He's in there. Roberts has got it. Second opportunity knocked away by McIntosh. Third opportunity. Roberts only as far as Cousins.
Done well since he came onto the ground too, young Cousins. Kicks in towards right half forward. Just inside their offensive 50. Turnbull makes a contest. Kemp there to crumb it for the Eagles. Gets around and kicks effectively and finds Simmons. And this would be a fair result for Simmons. He's been a hard worker so far in the first half. And if he can kick a goal here and give the Eagles a 4-goal break, it certainly will top off his first half.
Only his fourth kick, Robert.
Once again, Dean Kemp, the architect. Watch this. Just terrific awareness. Looking back inside. And Cousins playing a different role today. He's actually playing up the ground and behind the ball. And subsequently, he's getting plenty of the ball too in the midsection of the ground. And an attacking player.
3 goals the margin. Simmons to make it 4. No, he's to make it 19 points. Just missing off to the right. His first score. Fuster has kicked 2 goals. Philip Matera has kicked 2. And for North Melbourne, McKernan has kicked 2 goals. 19 points in favour of the West Coast. 2 minutes left in the first half. David King to kick it back for the Kangaroos.
Get a good shot from behind the goals here. King's going to keep it reasonably short. Found his man, disguised it well, got to Pike, got it almost to the 50. So that's a good result for North. Pike away, and he goes long and gets it to centre wing. Scholl the target, good kick, good mark. So North with 2 good kicks have got it to centre wing. Anderson's handball, but beauty to Stevens. They need a late goal, the Kangaroos. Stevens with 2 bounces. Inside 50, nice kick. Carey down there with Jakovic. Jakovic again, Carey on to Jakovic. Bell couldn't quite get a handle on it. Lovell's there, Simpson was there, or Allison I should say. Still to be won. Waterman well played to Worsfold. They've played a bit of footy together, those 2 old stages. Worsfold to centre wing. Martin and Fuster. I think Brendan has really confused Mickey today. There's McIntosh back inside. Well played. Schofield away. Can measure it now. Runs a fair way. Then floats one to half forward. This is interesting. Over the back from Matera. Watch this. Watch him. He's clever. Round the corner. Good kick. It's close. It's very close. It's hit the post. Oh, that would have stung like hell. That would have really hurt. Right on half-time. 5-4 to 8-6. What a great bit of play this was.
So their Chandler has actually gone on to him now. And that was the goal they needed right on the half-time break.
Adrian Barrich on the boundary. What news of Chris Lewis?
Dennis, Chris Lewis has gone into the rooms to have his knee strapped. He's actually hurt his knee, but doesn't look too serious.
We give up here then. Stoner's dragged down. Dying seconds of the first half. A ball up. Half forward line for the West Coast Eagles. Watch it again. Upended as he kicks here. And that left leg taken from under him. He's off the ground at the moment. McKernan managed to get boots a ball. Simmons so good. His 10th hand pass. I was talking about 4 kicks, but he's been so busy. Scholl turned it over. Worsfold with Stone. Worsfold on the burst. Kicks inside the 50. Bell missed it. Came back with courage. This is Roberts. 2 against 1. The 2 prevail. Roberts got it to Bell. Bell to the outer side. Stevens. No time to score, though. The Eagles will lead by 20 points at the half. Stevens. Long kick. Half-time at the G. It's been a terrific, pulsating game of football, this one. West Coast 8-6. North Melbourne a 5-4.
They need a break or 2 here. West Coast in the driving position at half-time. First semi-final on 7 Sport around Australia. McKernan aided by the bounce, lays it down. King's quick kick. Back towards centre-half forward. Djakovic works under it. Oh, he started as he finished. What a game he is playing. Carey must impose himself on this match, you'd think, for North to win. Djakovic out wide. Carey, by the way, starting back on Turnbull at centre-half back. Banfield's long ball. Philip Matera worked cleverly underneath. Ball comes to ground. Schofield with the footy. Good tackle on him. Pike gets rid of Peter Matera. Quick kick back to centre wing. Blakey's got the run of it. Hard at him will be Stone. Stone back to Blakey. Then a good tackle by Stone. He's been good all day. And it's going to be a ball up. Dipper.
Yes, I've just spoken to the North doctor. Stuart Anderson is off with a very bad corked hip, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
And Ross Glendinning, Carey at centre-half back. Do you reckon that's where you'd play him right now?
Well, I want to get him into the game and try and get him away from Djakovic, but it puts a big onus on Craig Scholl now, Bruce.
The thing about the way that Craig Scholl plays, Bruce, also is that he'll drag Djakovic right up the ground, and that may be exactly what North Melbourne are hoping to achieve.
At the other end, Crocker is on Morrison. And Roberts on Waterman, so North with some size advantages inside their 50. Blakey taken down again by Stone.
Dennis, player just going out of picture there on the right, Anthony Rock. 1 kick and 3 hand passes. An integral part in their getting the ball away from crunch situations. Just has to get more of the footy.
They need him now. McKernan got it down. Cousins. Evans has been very good. Stone broadens things. Kemp so lively. Kicks down towards the half-forward line. Philip Matera creating space for himself. Martin came hard at him, missed him. Fuster, as a result, feeds it to support. Here's Cousins. Has he got the accuracy? Lost the ball. Philip Matera couldn't find it either with the boot. Sliding in down there is Pike. Heads for the boundary line, gets it across. Throw it in, says Rowan Zors.
Dennis, I followed Cousins all the way down the ground. He took off from the wing position. He just kept running. He's been a good player just going from behind the ball and probably should have done more with this in the end.
Tim, you've got to run harder.
Mickey Martin, a big right fist. And a snapshot for goal by Schofield has just missed. Gee, that would have been a good start for the West Coast if Jared Schofield had have been able to convert.
Well, though, West Coast has won 15 third quarters this year and lost just 8, so it's been a very good term for them all through the year.
Well, that's an important statistic for North Melbourne to be confronted with, because they've got to make up a deficit now of 21 points. King kicks in and does it well. Finds Roberts from about 45 metres. Roberts in turn goes into the middle, and the mark is taken there by Simpson. Simpson looking to play on. Just escapes. Banfield came from behind. Big leap there by Morrison, interfering with Crocker, according to the umpire. Jumping early and getting the North Melbourne player out of the contest. Is that a free kick?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He had one thing in mind in that occasion. That was just to get Crocker out of the contest, as you called it. And the arms only really went up belatedly.
So Crocker, he's had a couple of chances. Hasn't been able to do all that much. He's kicked 1 goal, and a very important kick for the Kangaroos. Again, it floats away to the left and through for Crocker's first behind. He's kicked 1 goal, 1.
McKernan runs at them aggressively. 1 bounce. Pushed off the kick. Well done by Cousins. Affected the kick. Waterman has it now alongside the centre circle. This ball bouncing around like a charged particle at the moment inside the pocket. Here's a chance down there for Fuster. Worked out of it, though, by the 200 gamer. Then he lost it. Mickey turned it over. Schofield 60 metres out towards the middle. Too much carry there for Cousins. Awkward bounce for Pike. Evans sent away on his left side. Still Evans falling to the ground. Cousins sees the goal face. Heads for home. It's there. Great goal.
Well, it can be a cruel game sometimes. Martin Pike met the ball. Unfortunately, he missed it.
Gee, big Mickey straight. I mean, Mickey Martin, I don't think I've ever seen him play a bad game, Tim, but he's having a shocker.
Yes, he should have been able to clear that ball. He had the running of the ball, didn't he?
He must be.
He just hasn't looked at all comfortable today.
And so is there's Chris Lewis just loosening up on the boundary line as the Eagles nearly get clear through Evans again from the centre. Even though North Melbourne may have been competitive with ruck contests, The West Coast Eagles from centre bounces have been very good. Clearance is terrific. Kemp and Peter Matera. Look at Peter Matera. Slows it all down and then puts it out in front of the face of Ryan Turnbull. If North are to win this game, they've got to put Carey back to where he can kick goals. There's no point saving a game of football. They trail by 26 points. The kick towards full forward, punched away from Longmire by McIntosh. Still under pressure on the full back line are the Kangaroos. Bell kicks it out wide and just gives it straight up. Matera travelling in second gear. Comes in and then thumps it back towards the inside the forward 50 with his 12th kick. It's another shot at goal. It looks pretty good. Philip Matera's got it. It's all getting away from the Kangaroos. 32 points now the margin.
There's real danger signs now as we see Philip Matera on screen. Brett Chandler really shouldn't have gone for this. Just watch this. He's tried to come over the top as we see Peter Matera had plenty of time just to set this up. Sees his opportunity, puts a big torp in. Chandler goes over the top. It's his man that stays down there.
Boundary throw in meantime. Blakey comes away. Desperate time for North. Schofield on the ground as we can see. Rock, one of his few touches. Roberts has had a few. Gets it across to Scholl. Scholl runs to 50. Can he get a goal here? Strong work off the ball. Jakovic, unkind bounce. Ably assisted there by Worsfold. Schofield still in a lot of pain. The ball is out of bounds. And Schofield has been good this afternoon, but he's badly hurt, it seems. He's trying to go on, but he's collapsed out there. Schofield 12 possessions a fortnight ago. Had a team-high 33 in the last qualifying match. Watch it again. That right ankle. It was trapped under King. It's either the ankle or the knee, but that leg wanted to come. There was nowhere to go.
They got what we used to call the stretcher coming out for him now. So what could it? Lewis is warming up, Tim, and now he becomes critical, doesn't he? Because Schofield had come off the ground and you'd reckon has gone for the day.
Could he have broken his leg in a situation like that where it twisted?
Well,
Just watch it. Oh,
boy, he's really given that a bend, hasn't he?
In the lower part of the leg, you'd almost consider that he may have done some damage around the shin area.
Ross, you're sitting right above this, aren't you, Ross Glendinning? It's right below where you're sitting in the Great Southern Stand. He's in a whole heap of pain.
Yeah, Bruce, it does look as if it's the lower part of his leg across the shin. He might have broken it. So that's unbelievably bad luck for Jared Schofield. But the right shin is the area he's been pointing to, so there might be a break in the bone there.
Lee Matthews, Glenn Jakovic's performance today.
Well, it's interesting. At the moment, North have got Mark Roberts playing as a running centre-half forward, trying to drag Jakovic out. But we've got a passage of play here that started on the half forward flank for the Eagles, where John Blakey grabs the ball. We'll watch this. And as the ball goes forward, just have a little, we'll stop it in a minute. Blakey looks to kick it forward. Now we'll just stop it here. Now this guy here, that's Mark Roberts. That's Glenn Jakovic's direct opponent. North, as they do so often, kick the ball over the top of the player in between. We'll roll the action on as the kick goes on, and basically you'll find it will go.
We're back here, Lee, with Schofield, but just closing the point you were talking about there. Schofield coming from the ground. Carey, by the way, is going forward. So, Lee, just concluding that point.
Saying it, no matter who's playing on Jakovic, Jakovic is just dropping back across the half-back line, and virtually he lets his opponent go up the field, and because North just kick the ball in long, it's ingrained into them because they're used to doing it with their game plan. Jakovic is just cutting him off at the pass.
Thanks for that, Lee. And Carey is going forward, as we told you. Good pick up there by Scott, I think, or Rock, one of the two. Rock, I think it was. And it's out on the full, no, behind. So 5 goals to 10 here. Dipper, you're down on the boundary line. There's a fair bit happening at the moment.
There certainly is, and Stuart Anderson has just run back from the rooms. He's very keen to get on. Expecting to see him back on in about 30 seconds, Bruce.
OK, good news for North there.
Waterman to Wooden. They're bringing it out alphabetically. Wooden runs away, kicks it up towards the wing. They break the chain. Matera. Hasn't he been wonderful?
Fantastic.
Peter Matera putting on a clinic this afternoon. The big stage is where he loves it. He goes to half forward. Turnbull low down. It's going to take a very good North Melbourne side to pull this one back. Turnbull inside the 50. Well worked by Longmire. Got in front, stayed in front, full-chested, took the mark.
They've kicked 2 points so far in this quarter, North Melbourne.
10-7, 5-6. Roberts across half back. Another short one. Blakey. Not bad policy this. A few players down on possessions, getting some touches. Blakey, though, kicks to Gardner. Giving a contest was Chandler. Gardner paid the mark.
That's just playing into the hand of the West Coast Eagles once again. I thought for a minute there that perhaps they'd even changed their game plan.
Gardner goes out wide. The intention was good. Cleared stone, bounces across the boundary line. So Jared Schofield is off the ground. A nasty one. Watch it again. King, relentless, has got him. And there's the problem. It does not look good.
No, looks a very bad injury there for Jared Schofield. Bad luck for that player. Now, this is the guy that just has to kick at least 3 goals if North Melbourne are to win this game. Wayne Carey's kicked to half forward. Across that line, Craig Scholl gathers. Good kick too. Is it at mark? I think it's going to be paid. It's all clear. And it's to Allison. So he must convert, Brad Allison. They've got to kick a goal here to give them some sort of impetus to carry on. There's about 10.5 minutes left of the third quarter. And, of course, the last quarter to go. They've kicked 5 goals. It just is not a score that you can expect to be at least competitive in a final with Tim.
Now, it's a critical time now for North Melbourne. They do need to get a run on. They've got to kick a couple of consecutive goals.
Allison from about 35 metres. And he does get the goal that North Melbourne badly need.
So 10-7 to 6-6.
And ironically, on that occasion, Wayne Carey featured in it. Ross, Glenn Denning, how do you see the move now of Wayne Carey back to centre-half forward?
Well, just sensed him when he did go back there, the body language of the players around him was a lot stronger, and just that touch he's got there, he shared it around very well.
Six, 10-7. Ross Glendinning talking about the significance of Carey going forward and the body language. Good to see Anderson back. North need the next one. Rock's chip pass is good. Out wide. Gets to Stevens. Play on was called. Must have been touched. Kemp's been a big winner all day. The break's going for West Coast, but they've earned it today. Kemp's a beautiful kick. Philip Matera has been one of the surprise packets of the afternoon. He has played a wonderful game. Not a good kick. Martin, Fuster, beautifully done handball, terrific. Lovell's kick a goal. Unbelievable. No. Point. Well, Lovell reckons it's a goal. I reckon it's a goal, but I'm a bad judge. I'm a long way away, but the goal umpire says it's a point. Well, it looked a goal.
I'm with you, Bruce. I thought it actually came off the post, but...
Well, you're right, because that's what the goal umpire signalled.
And a wonderful bit of play there from Dean Kemp. Just his awareness when his opponent, Stevens, had the ball. Terrific turnover.
Well, it must have just skimmed the post. It was close, wasn't it?
I think so. Anderson down towards half forward. Scholl, well done. A win for straight there.
Just get a feel. You get a little feel here. The last 90 seconds of footy. North into it.
Scholl, 80 metres out. Sets it high in the direction of Crocker. Worked under the ball. It's loose behind. McKernan across the body. Snaps. Oh, what a great goal.
That's it.
Here they come. Amazing. The poster at one end, the snap at the other is good, and suddenly the margin, as it was at half-time, we're back to 20 points.
I think also the presence, Tim, of Carey going down there. Can that make a difference to a team when you see your big gun go back to centre-half forward?
Well, I don't know whether that's the actual reason why they've kicked these last couple of goals, but surely they have sensed the situation of the game and it was getting away from them.
So it is a 20-point margin. It was 20 points at half-time. So North, all they've done is get themselves back into the contest. Kemp has the football, and it's another successful centre break for the Eagles. Bashed away by David King, nearly as good as a kick. On the end of it is Anthony Stevens. Handballs to his own advantage, and then frustratingly, touches it with his boot, and it goes over for throw-in.
Another worrying sign there, Robbo, though, for North Melbourne was the fact that there was 2 West Coast Eagles players there before another North Melbourne player arrived, and that's been the story of the day. West Coast Eagles have been terrific getting the numbers of the ball.
Stevens to Bell, in turn Roberts. Roberts crashes his way through, but there's a free kick. It's coming back. It's coming all the way back, and one wonders why, because I think the free kick is with North Melbourne's Peter Bell. The advantage was certainly with the Kangaroos.
It'll be interesting to see where Wayne Carey lines up in this situation. Yes, he's taking Glenn Jakovich up the ground out of this contest.
The kick to half forward, gathered by Crocker. Morrison was important because he did get first hands on the footy in the marking contest, and he's locked it up for the Eagles across half forward line. Adrian Barrich on the boundary line.
Robbo, injury update, Jared Schofield in a lot of pain, devastated he can't play anymore today, has hurt both his ankle and his knee, and his knee is the major concern. Could be a serious knee injury, definitely won't play anymore.
Gardner to Kemp. Kemp's kick was good. That should be Philip Matiras. No, but he was good enough to just poke it forward to half forward. Good take by King against Lovell. Is that 50? No. So King at centre half back, 7-6, 10-8. Momentum with North, but as Robbo said, all they've actually done is get back to where they were. But you feel they're starting to come home. Waterman. It was a hard ball. Evans, gee, did well to hold his footing, and then a good tackle on Stevens. Well played, West Coast. That was a tough footy. Kemp's kick, Lovell. King came from the front, put his boot into Lovell. Martin there with Fuster. Simmons across the front of Mickey. Boundary throw in. Mickey does look injured, doesn't he?
Favouring that left shoulder.
There's no doubt he's carrying an arm, Mickey Martin. And what about this? This was a terrific contest to win this one. Evans staying on his feet, but Kemp once again just cleaning up and getting the ball going the West Coast Eagles way.
Rock working forward, under pressure, good handball to Harvey. Harvey inside, almost a 50 shoal. Good timing, great mark.
Should hang on to it till McKernan gets down there.
Could nearly kick this shoal. 52 out, floats it, wobbles it, gives it a go. It's there. It's a goal. Shoal gets his second. North closing 8-6 to 10-8.
Well, one of the critical things in football is to play these boundary line situations right out. Watch this from Rock. Takes the ball near the boundary line, smart enough to hear the call from Harvey, and then this is just a one-on-one contest where Scholl has outsmarted Stone.
(10-8 to 8-6). Now, the testing time in this game. McKernan worth a kick down inside the 50. Unbelievable. Scholl feeds it off. Dashing through Allison. It's still Allison. 60 metres out. Spears the pass in low. Half volley spills to Stevens. Back towards full forward Chandler. Did he have the ball crashing in Matera? Matera desperately away. They weather the storm, but it will come back. Carey has it. Left half forward. Carey off his step. Centering kick. Ball is coming. Got up there with Scholl. Loose ball behind. A free kick to Scholl.
Gee, he's been important too, hasn't he, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, Craig Scholl.
And the distance, as we just saw, not beyond him. Over the shoulder has been paid.
Pretty brave kick then from Carey too. He really probably had the West Coast Eagles won that situation, then they were going to be attacking and going forward in a hurry and in numbers.
Composes himself. It's a straight kick. It was. His isn't. Out of bounds.
Lee Matthews.
Working much better for our North. Because of Carey's back at centre half forward, he's pushing up into midfield. But because Jakovich respects Carey, he has to come with him. And now you've got McKernan getting in and playing as centre half forward against Gardner. And this is working much better for North.
Craig Scholl has played a magnificent last 3 or 4 minutes. In this instance, he took the mark, but obviously being shepherded off the football was Jason Ball, and he's going to take the free kick. It is a 14-point margin, so they've pulled it back by 6 points, North Melbourne. The deficit at half-time was 20 points. The ball at the back, Anthony Stevens, a hard worker, gets the handball to Bell. Bell goes down the line. This is effective. Scholl again has the football. He's a lively forward. He kicks in short, and the mark is taken here by McKernan. The big guns for North Melbourne are lifting.
It's a real test now for the West Coast Eagles. They really do have to close these stars for North Melbourne down before three-quarter time, just to arrest the momentum back off North Melbourne.
14 points the margin. It could be 8 if he kicks accurately. 5 minutes left in the term. Terrific player, McKernan. He's kicked 3. He kicks from outside 50. It's a big kick. It's a big goal for the Kangaroos.
Well, once again, it was Craig Scholl who presented himself for that pass way out wide on the wing. Corey McKernan started back. Stevens won the ball. Good kick here from Bell to Scholl, who ran up and presented himself, as I said. Corey McKernan started extremely deep and came out in front of Gardner. Scholl's had a wonderful quarter.
Big quarters for Scholl and McKernan here. North with the last 4 goals. What a great game. 9-6, 10-8. And again, a centre bounce. It's a terrific kick by McKernan. Just outside 50. Gets such length, doesn't he? West Coast needs some momentum now, just before three-quarter time. North closing hard. Gardner couldn't get a crack at it. Evans courageously kicks the ball to Turnbull. Turnbull quickly on. That was interesting. He was at 50 and he's a long kick. Simmons has to work hard. Cut off by Pike. If North win, this will be damaging. Oh, well played, Kemp. To Banfield. Banfield heads for home. Goes for full forward over the top. Bouncing. It'll be a goal. Unbelievable.
Kemp, marvellous.
Dean Kemp in the centre. Banfield gets the goal. And as they did in the second quarter, they get one back in a hurry.
They answered the challenge in the second quarter. We see that man on screen there, Dean Kemp. Just a marvellous play. Had 19 possessions today. Just a look away handball. Always aware of exactly who's around him and the positions they're in. And that ball just going over the top and just dribbling through. And that's a great sign for the West Coast Eagles to answer that challenge straight away and to stretch this lead back out to 14 points.
Well, the cream is rising to the top. Who's got the most cream? McKernan, Kemp. The big names now are firing. McKernan again decisively. Down into the path of Bell to half-forward Longmire. He'll go close from here. Allison up ahead. The short one to Carey. It's like a who's who of football at the moment. Thrust and counter-thrust. Carey. Now this could uncork the genie. Down so long this afternoon. Djakovic has really been the man when they've been together. A goal here. He may explode. North Melbourne may explode. They're down by 14 points. What about this? It's tight. I think it's good. Well, as Sherlock would say, the game's afoot.
And it's gone up a notch in this third term too. North Melbourne sensing that the West Coast Eagles were getting right away from them. They picked up their approach and attack on the ball. They've become more ferocious. They're winning more and more 50-50 contests. And Glenn Djakovic just playing off Wayne Carey on that occasion. Just drifted off. He started to guard the dangerous space further down the ground.
Well, a 20-point deficit at halftime is now only 8, Bruce.
10-6, 11-8. Anderson's got the footy out wide. Interesting, the goal kickers here too in this quarter. Carey, Scholl, McKernan, Allison. They're big 4. They're big 4 goal kickers. Matera held up. Banfield over the top. Back to Wood. And Wooden at centre wing.
Little kick, but he gives it up. That hasn't gone far enough, Danny. Get rid of it quickly. He does. And he's being pinged for deliberately out of bounds.
That's a pretty tough call, that one.
Stand in a white shirt and walk off the ground in front of the North Melbourne supporters after that one. Peter Matera kicks towards the half-forward area. Great mark taken by Fuster in front of Martin. Oh, he downs Mickey Martin. Now, be careful.
No, don't take it off him. Don't take it off him. That'd be ridiculous.
Well,
Obviously, Mickey hanging on to Brendan Fuster after he'd taken the mark. He was frustrated. Rowan Saws in total control there. Fuster with the football. He kicks towards full forward. At the back, it's punched away. Underneath there is Anthony Stevens. It spills to Scott, and he takes it over from Philip Matera for a boundary throw-in.
And that was better disguised, wasn't it?
Yep.
There was only one thing in Scott's mind, and that was to get the ball over the line. Just watch this again as Fuster just stands up. Not much in that. Mickey, an Academy Award for you, though.
Well, a chance here for the Eagles. McIntosh really looks underdone, as does Martin. Fuster. Ball spills. Philip Matera kicks towards full forward. Longmire, the bounce was awkward. Scott takes it over for another boundary throw-in.
Ross Glendinning high in that great southern stand. This comeback from North has been stirring in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think the big difference, Bruce, has just been their clean ball handling. In their first half, they were very untidy and fumbly, but they've got clean ball handling through the middle, and they've given their forwards a chance to lead up the ground.
Less than 2 minutes till three-quarter time. Evans will want the left side. He was thinking about that. He's still favoured by it. Still going. Blakey dragged him down. Holding the ball. Good call.
Amazingly, though, Dennis, he is such a left-sided player, yet every player faded and went to his right side.
Yeah, you can't believe it, can you? Blakey wanted the right side initially, but eventually got him.
North would do well. North would do well to hang on. 1.5 minutes left.
Blakey back towards the wing with the high ball. Stone, big leap. Carey laid it down into the path of Stevens. Bounces just inside the field of play. Boundary throw-in. 74-66. Eagles lead. Their margin was 20 points at the long break. 1:20 till three-quarter time. Beautiful day here in Melbourne, and we've been treated to a top game of footy. The season's on the line for these two clubs. Roberts wide of the pack. Morrison in trouble, dragged down, kept it going. Stevens again off his step, close to the boundary line. Takes a break, a vicious break. Stevens a chance. Was he pushed in the back? No, free. Down goes McKernan. Chance for Scholl. Stevens a second chance. That's Danny Stevens on his knees. Evans gets it to Jakovic, and Jakovic breaks away.
Some great football. Jakovic to Simmons. He's got Cousins over the top. Stirring defence here by West Coast. I think Stone put the tackle on.
Tackle, Bruce, was fantastic.
Because McKernan was a big moving man at that time, and he had to stop him, and he did. Cousins has been pretty good at centre wing. They probably want another goal out of him, though. Kicks to half forward, a good one. Not paid. Gee, Waterman a bit stiff. King away and floats it close to the line. It's out on the full. Very deep now into this third quarter. What a term it's been. I said at the start of this term that West Coast had won 15 third quarters this year. Well, North weren't bad either. They'd won 14, and right now they're going to win this one. They often call it the premiership quarter. Right now, North has outscored West Coast 5-3. Turnbull front spot. Stevens works it over the line. Well, the match is perfectly set up, isn't it? Because North start a favourite at about 3-1 on, and they're going to trail at three-quarter time by about a kick. So you reckon it's about the best even money bet you could have. Kemp, Banfield didn't use, wouldn't, probably should have. Good play by King, important here. Coming away, bustling forward. There's still a little bit of time in this third quarter. Held up, Scott can't get a handle on it. Banfield's been good. Tried to find a man out wide and wouldn't. Blakey off the ground, belts it towards the line. Time running out now. Harvey after it. What a great quarter it was. We're going to have a look at the North Melbourne board. We froze just at three-quarter time. Tim, so that's what Dennis Pagan had on his board at three-quarter time. Bell, yes. Banfield, Turnbull, Pike.
I think he would have been pretty happy with his matchups towards the end of that quarter, but just looking out there now, Peter Matera has gone forward and he's been picked up by Chandler. Perhaps he's a little bit worried by his injury, or perhaps they're trying to exploit Chandler as a defender.
Big last quarter, surely. What a great game it's been. Rock with one of his few possessions. McKernan belts it forward. He's been good. Kemp has been outstanding. Cousins. West Coast trying to hang on here. Jakovic, well, he dropped it in the end, but he broke two tackles. Wooden good. Banfield's had a very good match. Kicks the ball to 50. Philip Matera and Robert Scott over the top. Good take by McIntosh. Good gift to Turnbull. He had one over the top. Lucky. He found Matera. Did he know?
He meant that.
I think so. I agree with you, Dennis.
Do you reckon he did?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Absolutely terrific by Turnbull with the outside of the boot.
Well, superb play. I wasn't so sure at the time. I'll pay it from here. That is a fantastic result. And a great kick by Turnbull. Dennis, you leapt out of your chair.
That was clever, Bruce.
I agree. Yep, for a big bloke, terrific stuff.
Well, he can kick this, Matera, surely. He's kicked a goal in each of the quarters so far. This to kick his fourth. It's close. He's missed.
Bad miss.
So Ryan Turnbull's beautiful little give with the back of the foot adds up to just one behind. 3-3, Philip Matera.
That's a critical miss. Absolutely critical miss in the context of this game. And Robbo, you said at the start of the game that 15 goals would win them. Do you still believe that 15 goals will win this game?
I think if North kick 15, they'll be in front when the siren sounds, Tim. Don't worry about that. David King has the footy. And he kicks it out wide to a contest. McIntosh appealing for the mark. Not given. Cousins around onto his right. Then good vision finds Evans. Evans decides to kick with his right foot to the goal square. Taken by Matera. And he's missed again, Philip Matera. 3 goals, 4 to the forward pocket goal sneak. Gee, wouldn't it have looked good? 6 goals against his name.
Just watch this. Not really anything in that. The crowd roared, looking for the kick downfield, but you just get the feeling the West Coast Eagles just dominating the early part of this final term, but they need to put the goals on the board.
King towards the outer side. Anderson leads back in the race. Corralled out there by Simmons. Stevens kick out of bounds on the full. Eagles by 10 points. Concentration now the key as far as Philip Matera is concerned. They need him focused on the forward line. Kick comes in, too much carry for Pike. Fuster left it behind, being held out there. Longmire went down. Pike butters up again. In goes Turnbull. A whistle and a ball up about 60 metres out from the attacking goal for the West Coast Eagles. The season now has 30 minutes to run or less for one of these two sides.
Settle down, Martin Pike.
What a terrific game, building to a climax here. Stevens moves at about 5 metres. Simmons has been so good, lost that time. Simpson got it across to Stevens. Still Stevens, well played, working it forward. Picked up again by Simpson. Simpson kicks well inside the 50. Allison was there. Back onto the loose ball. Grabbed. Scholl, the star of the third term, kicks a goal.
Tell you what, Anthony Stevens was lucky in the middle of the ground. Dropped the ball red hot, bouncing it when you're about to be tackled.
I actually thought that he handballed the ball out in front of him, Robbo. You won't see it again, but this is where they were hoping to expose John Worsfold. On that occasion, Allison being exposed and Scholl doing the damage, kicking the ball. But that's the difference, isn't it? One side takes the ball down, has 2 shots at goal, misses it, and the other side takes its opportunities.
North has come behind at 3/4 time just once this year to win in round 6 against Hawthorn. They're threatening to do it here in a match with much, much greater stakes. A quick kick by Anderson. We didn't think we'd see him in the second half with that hip injury out wide. Roberts drawing the man over the top. Good. Taken by Stevens at halfback. Kicks to McKernan. Beautiful kick. He can run on here, McKernan. He may take Gardner on. He's in the pocket. Little check side, works it back. Scholl looking for a free kick. Stone ducks his head. Tackle on him. Worsfold courageously belts it back. McKernan on it. Goes for it, just misses.
Oh.
And to think, Dennis, that West Coast led by 32 points in the third quarter, and North has not been in front since the 12-minute mark of the first, and they're threatening to get there in a hurry.
The wily veteran, Worsfold up towards the wing. Simmons has been so good. Stretches out, takes the mark on the wing. Matera coming off the ground. Simmons, his side up by 3 points. Who will go on? Matera sits down. Helpless now, perhaps, to influence the outcome. Inside the 50, surely a free kick to Longmire at the back. Nothing doing. Fuster overruns the ball.
Free kick.
It is a free kick going the other way. A amazing. McIntosh to get it. Well, watch it again. Find a free to Ashley McIntosh here. He paid the mark is what he did. I think he paid the mark, had to.
And he missed that free kick against John Longmire. And the West Coast Eagles having to bring Chris Lewis on the ground, who we already know is injured. So they have their problems too.
Remember that kick at the Gabba. He can move it a long way. He comes in. He heads for home. Long kick. Ill-directed. Out of bounds on the full crowd. Lap it up.
It's Chris Lewis who's back. Hasn't given them a whole lot, has he, McIntosh, today? There's Peter Matera. With Schofield and Matera out of business, that's shocking luck for the Eagles. They've made all the running here today, and they're hanging on by the skin of their teeth. 11-7 to 11-10. The winner to play in the preliminary final on Friday night against St Kilda. And they're going to have some sick and sorry men tomorrow. They're going to have to patch up a few, whichever team it is. McIntosh, ball hurriedly. Good take by Evans. He could be important in the last quarter. A high ball. This will be courageous. Gardner Key did well. He held his ground, but he was crashed from the back by Longmire, legitimately. And away goes Pike with a couple of bounces and a third. Breaking lines, a fourth. Good shipping by Blakey. Pike takes Jakovic on and breaks him. Kicks the ball inside. Good kick to centre half forward, and he's found Anderson. What a play by Pike. Longmire at the back to Pike.
Shades of Phil Manasseh.
Ran the length of the ground here. This was the one when he took Jakovic on as well, and then had the presence to kick it to Anderson, who, as we've told you before, is a good kick for goal. He missed one earlier today from about 5 or 10 metres further out than this. But this to give North Melbourne the lead for the first time since the 12-minute mark of the first quarter. Anderson from 40 metres out kicks the goal. And Martin Pike has become a legend in about half a minute of footy after that.
But don't forget, Johnny Longmire, it was he that came out from the top of the 10-metre square and forced that crumb after Gardner went back to take a very courageous mark. Martin Pike had the opportunity to do this earlier in the quarter when he could have taken off, bounced the ball a couple of times. On this occasion, he took the play on, but also had the presence of mind to finish it off.
It's tossed in. Banfield dragged down Carey. Feeds it back towards the middle, and Bell. Bell is tackled, no, slips away, going to the ground, gets it to Allison. Here's trouble for the Eagles. Allison kicks the goal. The Eagles are sagging.
And the West Coast Eagles desperately needing someone to stand up across half forward and take a mark for them, because they've taken the ball forward as often as North Melbourne has in this final term. They took it into their forward line early in the final quarter, but missed two opportunities via Philip Matera. But now they really do need someone to take a grab for them across half forward.
8 of the last 9 goals for the Kangaroos. 13-7 to 11-10. They've got the break. Lock out of the centre is all happening. Good take, though, by Stone, who's been impressive today. He's done a number of really courageous things. 24-year-old rookie. Gives it to Worsfold. Worsfold wide. They need the next one, West Coast, or else they're gone. Rock onto it. Wood to try and take it away. One of 2 18-year-olds out there for West Coast. Forces it to the line. What's the situation with Matera, Adrian?
Bruce, Peter Matera, thigh problem, heavily strapped. We won't see him again, a big blow. And Dennis, if the genie's been uncorked, well, different, I believe it's arrived in the form of the crowd. They are just lifting North Melbourne.
Anderson gets hold of it, goes to full forward, on the lead. Allison, good juggle, not paid. Good decision, I think, in the pocket. Bell, clever kick, actually. Great kick, here's another one. Irresistible now. Unstoppable. 14 to 11. Good kick, Bell.
When they score quickly, they score heavily, North Melbourne. They really do force the pace. Terrific bit of play here by Bell just to get the ball forward. Freeborn gets Morrison out of the way cleverly, just gives him a nudge, leans against his body, which is just enough to buy himself a bit of space. And North Melbourne rolling on now. The West Coast Eagles in trouble.
Well, since half-time, the Eagles have kicked 3 goals. Their last goal coming at the 25-minute mark of the third quarter. And since half-time, North Melbourne have added 9. And they lead now by 15 points. Gee, it's a big turnaround, isn't it? McKernan has been terrific. So is this player for the West Coast Eagles. Dean Kemp. Well done by Robert Scott. Just got an important hand onto it. What's happened? Free kick? Let's go to the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He was tackled, but he didn't have the ball.
It's Gardner with the free kick.
Johnny Longmire.
Dragged off the footy there by Longmire. And the umpire right on the scene to pick that up. So Gardner must kick this. He's only about 40 metres out, directly in front. Kicks and has missed.
Do you think back to the Philip Matera misses at the start of the quarter?
They're critical in finals football. Well, they're critical in home and away football, but when the stakes are highest, they really could have snuffed this North Melbourne side out early in the final quarter.
This is where they magnify the whole season, down to mistakes. And those mistakes by the Eagles have put petrol in the tank of North Melbourne. Miscue coming out, but Bell, he's played a wonderful game. Away he comes, Bell towards the wing. North Melbourne on top now. Simpson couldn't control it, close to the boundary line. Across it goes, it'll be thrown in. The margin at 14 points. But the goals have stopped as far as the West Coast Eagles are concerned. Interesting, Gardner on the forward line. There's Dennis Pagan having plenty to say. I'd like Gardner on the ball about now. They looked their most potent when he was in the centre square. Kemp slung off it. Simmons smothered brilliantly by Rock, just getting to his feet. Kemp now again trying to lift his teammates, comes away. They're not done with yet. To Cousins, it needs a goal. He runs to 50. Can he manufacture one? Long kick, and he's off target. The youngsters. First it was Philip Matera, then it was Michael Gardner, and now Ben Cousins. Youth has not been able to deliver. 11-12, 14-7.
Kick 1-6 in the last quarter, West Coast. Longmire's got it. Short to Pike. There's Lewis and King in the box. Have a look at that. This is happening behind play. I say 1-6 West Coast. It's 0-4, I should say. Stone, Waterman. They must get a goal here to centre wing. Good mark taken by Pike. Still Lewis and King having it to do.
Got to keep going.
It's too early. It's too early for North Melbourne to just start slowing the game down and trying to protect their lead. They've got to continue to attack.
Blakey back to Pike.
I don't think they've got a very good sense of time. All they need to do is look up the clock. There's still probably, as they know, there's probably at least 10 minutes of football to play. As we look down the field, these two players still having a bit to say to each other.
Pike's high ball to half forward. Stone work to the front. Get a free kick, I think, against Shoal for a hang on. So this is helping West Coast, I think. Just this moment or two. There's a chance to regroup here. The momentum's probably just gone from North a bit. They've still got a handy lead, but West Coast need a break. They didn't get one there. Blakey goes to ground. Cousins, well done, Rock. Hasn't had a big day, but that was good. Back to Pike. Pike keeps it low. It was a good kick. Chandler, he put it over the line, and then it was called not over. And then Bell just pushes it out. That's a free kick, surely, against Bell. Good decision, David Howlett. So North have got to start to be a bit more offensive.
They've gone too defensive. Yes, I don't understand exactly why they adopted this approach. There's still plenty of time on the clock.
Kick towards centre half forward. Gathered by Roberts. Gives the hand pass away to Anthony Stevens on his favoured side. Don't make a mess of this. Handball back into the centre. Fortunately for the Kangaroos. Anderson, look out, you're gone. Kemp's got him and will be rewarded with the free kick. Great chasing by Dean Kemp. Handballs to Evans. The West Coast Eagles sense that the game has still got 8 minutes to go and there's still a chance. Philip Matera. Handball to Cousins. Will it bounce favourably? It doesn't, but he tries to tap it for Simmons. Philip Matera's at the back. Go for goal. He kicks it long, 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 and Pike flips it over for a rush behind to the West Coast.
Hasn't he been heroic, Martin Pike, a few times?
12 points is the margin. Chris Lewis looking just a little frustrated, having plenty of dust-ups behind play with David King, and it is King to kick the ball back for North Melbourne.
Martin Pike, the run, the mark, and then the save. They come in threes. Now King to himself. The Eagles need a goal here. King towards the wing. Broadcast side, McIntosh thumps it down. Cousins lacking support, feeds it off. Waterman 55 metres out, sets it up. Gardner just wide of the target. Loose ball, takes an Eagles bounce. Good shepherd from Gardner, bought some time for Philip Matera. Snaps it back across the face. Pike again, terrible bounce. Chance for Evans, turns, measures, pulls it too far, I think, or has he got it? It's tight, it's good. Sneaking it in.
Well, there's no doubt that's the one they wanted, and I just get the feeling that North Melbourne have begun to tire a little bit. It's been pretty hot out there for the players today. Temperatures expected to get to about 21 degrees. It's been a warm, sunny afternoon here in Melbourne, and the North Melbourne players have certainly spent a lot of energy just making up this deficit that they had in this game, and they're now going to have to find something again.
Had the last 4 scoring shots here, West Coast. 3 behinds and then a goal. It says a lot about what's happened in the last few minutes. They're back in a big way. 14-7 to 12-13. What a match it's been. McKernan, well done by Evans to take it off him. Simmons can't crash through. Stevens off the ground. The percentages are so important here. Banfield belts it back in. Philip Matera keeps his eye on it. Robert Scott with him. They close him up. He gets the handball to Pike. Having a huge last quarter to Stevens. This can sting. Can Stevens use it? He has Allison leading. He kicks it to him now. Cutting it off ball. The ground ball goes to ground. Back to Freeborn. He's a goal kicker. We know that. Pushes wide. Clever kick to Anderson. Roscoe, what do you reckon? Do you reckon Anderson? No, he's going to go on. I won't ask you. To Bell, and he's got him. I was going to ask you whether Anderson can kick the goal. Surely Ross Bell can kick it from there.
Well, you'd think so. He's had a terrific game, but I agree with Tim. The running with North just slowed down a bit. They certainly had the leg speed throughout this last quarter. And the other thing that went their way was the bounce of the ball. And perhaps the only time it's gone against them that quarter is when Martin Pike met it before and just went the other way. So things are rolling North's way.
Well, this is going to make it hard. Very hard indeed. Big game, Bell. 1 goal in the opening term. This a top off a terrific match. They need it. It's close. He doesn't like it. He's missed. Well, we've seen misses at the other end. A lot of them. There's Lewis and King. They should forget all about that business. 14-8 to 12-13.
I'll tell you what, you don't drop off the urgency of a final when the loser drops out. You go all the way to the line because anything can happen. Just the bounce of this oval ball, no one can predict. Worsfold kicks in to the far side in front of the Great Southern Stand, taken by Simmons. He's been very good. To Wooden. Wooden runs down the wing. He can give a little pass. He could have to Turnbull, and then he kicked it long and gave it up. Just not quite the vision there by Josh Wooden.
Wrong option, Robbo. He had the players, didn't he? He had 3 players running with him. All he had to do was tip the ball over the outside, and they were away, the West Coast Eagles. They had a stream of players there, and that's an opportunity that really has gone begging.
And Martin Pike has just got to make sure he keeps going all the way to the wire. Long kick, that's better. Clears the players on centre wing. At the back, it's Freeborn. He's been a goal kicker. Scholl dispossessed by Stone. Stone was good. So was Banfield, Evans, Kemp, Morrison. They've still got a chance, the Eagles. Ball, kick, smothered off the boot. Bell gets it back to King. King lines it up and delivers towards centre half forward. Jakovic away from Carey for the boundary line and a boundary throw-in.
Still plenty of time, just under 5 minutes. The margin is 7 points. Emergency umpire out speaking with David King, and now with Chris Lewis. Carey meantime brilliantly knocks it down, but a free kick is coming back. Free kick to the West Coast Eagles. Now Don Pike is out there having a word to Lewis, and Lewis telling them both he wants them off the ground. Meantime, back with the footy. Kick comes out wide, bounces out of bounds in front of Turnbull. So much happening. It's been that sort of afternoon.
The emergency umpire has been out there to speak to Don Pike also, and I think he's got him off the ground.
Boundary throw in meantime, out his side. 4:38 remaining. Turnbull. Banfield fell over. Roberts hurriedly. It wanders down towards the attacking 50 for North. Loose ball. Jakovic. What a game he's played. First back confronted. Slips past Simpson. And from the defensive 50 goes wide. Too wide. Probably his first blemish of the afternoon. It's come at a bad time.
So still King and Lewis. They're at centre half forward at the moment. Hayden Kennedy with them. So North to bring it back in through Bell. The margin 7 points. Can't have a drawn match in a final situation. We saw North and Hawthorn play extra time. There's Lewis and King.
Now that's nonsense, really, isn't it?
Got to concentrate on the game, Chris Lewis.
It's not the first of the month, is it?
No. So Bell, McKernan stretch, and another boundary throw in. Yes. So 92 to 85. Carey and Jakovic. Jakovic over the top. Kemp. Kemp away from half-back. Kicks towards McIntosh. Not done yet, this West Coast team. Banfield. They've got to take a chance. He's taken a big one here and got away with it to Morrison. Well done. Trying to squeeze it out. They're in trouble now. King's got it. This will hurt. King away, and torpedoes it back with a beauty to fall forward. Allison, Carey, this is going to be ironical. The King's going to close it off. Well, it hasn't been his best match, but he may have the last save. 15-8 to 12-13.
Well, we talk about North's predictable game, don't we? The fact that they do like to keep the ball inside the corridor. They kick the ball long to a contest, and often we've seen today where it hasn't worked. This is one occasion where it did work again. That torpedo kick, just having a little bit of extra carry. No West Coast Eagles player able to get his hand on the ball. And it was disappointing to see the West Coast Eagles not able to get the ball out of that centre bounce area, because they worked extremely hard. They knew they had to run the ball into their forward line, but they just couldn't find themselves any space to operate in, as we see Chris Lewis taking a rest on the interchange bench.
And he's not happy. Talking about irony, it was most interesting that Lewis so close to David King for so long, but when they needed him alongside, it was King who found some space. 98 to 85. Now time is a problem for the West Coast Eagles. 3.5 minutes to go. McKernan brilliantly to Bell. Loved his game. Bell high up and under. Chandler went back to find it with courage. Stevens in trouble. Gets the hand pass away. Blakey slips away. The hand pass was smothered by Evans. Still Evans. Brilliantly done, Tony Evans. He's a warrior. Gets the hand pass to Banfield. Banfield goes off the ground. Down towards half forward with the run of the ball. The West Coast Eagles. Cousins about 75 metres from goal. Went looking for Waterman. And the veteran chips in.
Don't slow down. Keep the urgency up.
Well, I don't know now. Inside the last 3 minutes, Blakey to King. David King. Cheers resounding around this ground now. North Melbourne have weathered a storm. In desperate trouble earlier today. But the reigning premiers have fought back magnificently. King unloads. Distance. Getting it away from the Eagles' goal. In front, Simpson. Dragged down from behind. It's a loose ball. Falling over was Kemp. Then in turn, Chandler. And across the line it goes.
No team has won a premiership in the 90s and come back and won more than one final the next year. North's about to do it. It's been a great run by them. They'll get themselves right up to the prelim final in the Saints. Jakovic held up by Freeborn. North all over it now. West Coast trying hard. Kemp, one of the best on the ground. Jakovic's first half was unforgettable. Under pressure there.
Free kick.
He's going to get a free kick. His first half today was just unbelievably good.
And you look at Kemp, his possessions, 30 possessions now. He and Stevens have matched up today. Stevens has had 28.
Key player off the ground, Peter Matera. If he was there and picked the Eagles, it might have been a different story. He was sensational early as well.
I know they're gone now, but they should stand tall tonight, the Eagles. They have played one hell of a game. There's Archer, who can come back in the grand final on the right, Glenn, and Wayne Schwass, who can't play again this season. So Glenn Archer still with some chance of playing in the final series. McIntosh's kick, King on the back of it. Sun on his eyes, bad bounce. Fuster, who was so good early, held up by Longmire, and again it's going to be a bounce. So 98-85, North winning their way through to the preliminary final here.
I think Robbo's absolutely right in the context of this game. The loss of Peter Matera and also Schofield, who was a pretty good player for the West Coast Eagles, just robbed them of two players who have particular good run in their legs.
Robert Scott under a bit of pressure. Ashley McIntosh and Dean Kemp apply that pressure. But just nothing happening for the West Coast in the dying seconds of the game.
I think they'll be dismayed tonight, the West Coast Eagles. You've got to take your chances. They had their chances to win this football match. There's no question about that.
Yep. Yeah, the misses by Gardner and Cousins and Philip Matera are going to be critical in the wrap-up. We know North Melbourne missed a few early as well. Lovell not able to get on the end of it. David King prepared to just kick it down the line. It's Adam Simpson, rather, for the safety of a boundary throw-in. And North Melbourne will win their way down the line for another finals appearance against St Kilda next Friday night. Wayne Schwass, nothing for him really. Well, his teammates are going to play in finals. He won't. Mark Roberts kicks it back towards the wing. Glenn Jakovic tries to get rid of Carey. Look at the battle of strength. Carey over the top. Bell. Down the ground goes Peter Bell. What can he do? The hand passes, not all that good. Scholl may get on the end of it. Stone and Worsfold. Worsfold to Banfield. Banfield gathers, gets around onto his left, goes short, and the mark is taken there by Jakovic. The urgency by that player. Morrison crashes his way through the tackle. His kick towards half forward, punched away from Cousins by Blakey, gathered by Chandler. The ball bounces, and ball made it his. Cousins across the middle of the ground, and the siren has sounded on a magnificent game of footy here. The West Coast Eagles have lost the match, but surely they haven't lost any fans whatsoever. It has been a great battle, and down at right half forward we saw Carey and Glenn Jakovic just appealing to each other. I would suggest it was a terrific contest, Tim. West Coast early, North Melbourne over the top of them, North Melbourne by 13 points.
This has been a Fox Sports presentation.